The theatre that you go through where you have to hold the vinyl record by the side and blow the dust off and place it gently on the record player.
Just always have music on. There's always music on in our house.
Come to think of it, I can't really think of a point in my life where music wasn't somehow connected, you know?
Everyone's passionate about music. There's no one in the team that doesn't go to gigs, play an instrument, that kind of thing.
Electronic music, dance music. Steely Dan, which is a big no-no for some people.
Dogman Star by Suede. It's the greatest piece of music ever written. Debate me.
Rock, alternative rock, indie.
In my house, myself and the kids all big into musical. Don't say that out loud too often.
It's one of my guilty pleasures is going into the listening room when the engineers have gone away, shutting the door, getting the phone out and choosing your playlist and just going through some of the tracks you're not really meant to play for tune demoing and just enjoying the music.
From the very first Sondek LP12 turntable, Linn has been bringing audio excellence to homes for over half a century. Innovation, precision engineering, and unwavering passion for music have led to our groundbreaking products being revered the world over. And for us at Linn, it all starts here.
Anyone who comes to join Linn products, first of all, they need to find it. That's one of the first tests.
We've got fields, we've got trees, we've got the birds, daylight, fresh air. So that's really important. And to be able to sit outside in the summer on the 3 days that the sun shines, it's a really lovely way to be able to go to work.
When customers come for a factory tour, they think that perhaps they're going to be coming to a featureless industrial estate somewhere. Here they come to this very beautiful factory.
Funnily enough, I lived about 5 minutes away from here, and I never even knew that this place was here.
The site was chosen because we wanted a remote area where we could play music in an environment where we had no external interference.
It's modular and expandable and upgradable, just like our products. It's custom built for us. It's fantastic having this self-contained little Linn HQ where everyone does what they need to.
The company began in Castlemilk, on the edge of Linn Park. However, Ivor soon realized that in order to both improve and expand, he would need to design a purpose-built factory.
I went and I spoke to these 3 contenders, and the one that stood out was Richard Rogers, because they were open to working with us to come up with a design for a completely novel concept of factory.
Perhaps best known for the Pompidou Centre in Paris and the Millennium Dome in London, Richard Rogers' partnership won the tender to co-design the iconic Linn factory we know today.
I remember coming here when it was just a site. I remember seeing it in various stages of construction, seeing my dad in various stages of frustration and despair. I was really proud that my dad could build such an amazing thing.
It's a huge open plan area. There's not a wall to an office or a door you have to knock on if you want to go and talk to somebody. And if you walk around the building, you see that people walk around. They walk up to people and ask them a question. You have a chat, you fix a problem, you move on with your day in a more positive way.
People have to mingle when you work here.
We've got all of R&D in one office, basically, open plan. So when you're talking to electrical engineers, you're talking about service requirements, quality issues, go up and speak with manufacturing and purchasing. Everyone can be here and you can come together really quickly.
We actually have a lot of capability within one building. It's very unusual for a company to make their own circuit boards, to cut their own metalwork, to have a huge R&D department in-house where you can do electronic design, electrical design, mechanical design.
It's not a phone call or, you know, a 10-hour time difference or anything like that. It's just wandering down to the other end of the factory and asking for a favour.
I had a journalist come that was running a feature on CEOs and their offices. He was so disappointed. I don't think they even ran it. Like, where's your ornaments and where's your paintings and, you know, where's your giant desk? It's like, no, I just have the same desk as everyone else. It's the interaction between people, and that is crucial to the ideas that we need to get the innovation that we need.
I wanted people to be together rather than all be in their own offices. It was all about integration.
One team has been on the right track since the moment the factory opened. Meet Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
You're going to get knocked down. I'm sure they sent that around the purpose. When this factory was put together back in the mid-80s, Linn was probably one of the first companies in the UK to have automated guided vehicles. This is our automated warehouse where we store all of our raw components, all of our parts that we finished in the factory go inside here. And then when it's time for assembly, our AGVs come round, pick up the parts and take them out to our assembly area. Ivor actually designed the factory with this in mind. So those AGVs have served us really well. We're now going to retire them this year, and hopefully if we get 40, 50 years out of the next set of AGVs, we'll be doing really well.
Have you told these guys that they're getting made redundant?
That might be why they're trying to knock us down just now. They're not happy about it. Yeah.
This is quite a special LP12. This particular deck belongs to Linn's founder, Ivor Tiefenbrunn. It's not every day that you get to tune Enzo Ferrari's car, so I feel very privileged to get to work on this particular deck today.
It's hard to pinpoint at what age I realised how significant the LP12 was, but it was from the beginning. I'd have grown up as a little kid, constantly hearing music playing on an LP12, and oftentimes my dad and his colleagues would be trying out upgrades in our flat. And so I would hear the same snippet of 10cc or Pink Floyd or Queen or Dire Straits being played repeatedly as they tried to judge the differences between whatever they had and whatever upgrade they were making.
There's nothing hugely tricky about an LP12. There's nothing on it that doesn't need to be there for just beautiful music reproduction, so it's a lean device. It's just one of those things that they're built by hand, and actually spending a little bit more time and being patient with it pays dividends for the owner, because you can make this logical 50-year-old mechanical device absolutely sing.
And if simplicity was key to the success of Sondek LP12, the same was true when it came to the production line.
The idea of the way we build changed after the LP12 went into production. We had a huge overnight success, and the Sondek, the back orders started to build up, and we really couldn't manufacture it quick enough. So Ivor called a meeting.
And I called one of the girls from the production line and I said, Margaret, go and get all the bits we use to make a turntable. Make a turntable and bring it to us. She came back and said, here it is, what do you want it for?
And the time that she had taken to build it from start to finish was shorter than the time it took an LP12 to roll off the production line. So immediately we changed how we produce our products, and overnight we adopted a process we call single-stage build.
It made the job more interesting, and it also increased our productivity enormously.
So Sharon's actually run a test on a Climax DSM just now. Just...
Hi, Sharon.
Hello. I've just finished building it, a single-stage build. Everything I need to build is either in front of me or in these two cages behind me. Once I've finished building it, I actually sign my name on the foot. So it's actually my signatures on every product of these that we build. Test sequence passed.
Given his career path, it's perhaps not surprising that Ivor's passion for high-quality sound was evident early on.
When I got married, the first thing I did was I bought a hi-fi. And my wife said, what are you doing? We don't have a table or chairs to sit at. I said, we don't need that, darling. All we need is music, you know. But this hi-fi was a disappointment to me. And I realized that when my system was playing, there was a feedback loop, and that this sound from the loudspeaker was being picked up through the air by the turntable And so one thing led to another. I decided to build a turntable that wouldn't do that.
So where the needle hits the record is where the action is happening, in the groove, at that precise point. Every bit of movement has to be as precise as possible to get the correct signal so that you can reproduce what's on that record. That is an incredibly difficult engineering challenge.
I went out and called in hi-fi shops and started to sell them. I would go to a place, a town, and every town, even small towns in Britain, had a hi-fi shop. And I would say to them, my name's Ivor, I'm from Glasgow, I make a turntable, would you like to listen to it? That was my line, my sales pitch.
At the time when my dad introduced the Sondek LP12, people just thought, well, the sound comes out of the speaker, so that must be the most important part of a system. But what the LP12 showed was that when you extract more information out the groove of a record, it could improve the sound of any system.
I believed that hearing was believing, and you had to demonstrate to people. And I wanted people to know why they sold the product that I made.
Sustainability starts with the fact that we don't make a product that you throw away, which is it's a great place to start, isn't it?
That is the essence of what Ivor intended in terms of this modularity. You know, once you've built that relationship with that customer, it's not you've got the product and then you move on, it's you've got it and you keep upgrading and you keep going back, and it's just very engaging.
That piece that you bought that, you know, has become part of your life, we're gonna do our best to make sure that it can stay that way for as long as possible, and that's an amazing thing to even be able to say.
They know when our technologies inevitably move forward and develop that we'll provide the opportunity to take them forward on that journey. So you're maintaining that link with the customer over the years.
Clyde Built is something that goes way back. It's always been part of Linn.
We proudly print Clyde Built on every single circuit board that we make, a nod to the shipbuilding past that Glasgow is most famous for.
You kind of make everything with a wee bit of pride, knowing that you made different parts that will go into these products that are going all around the world.
Clyde built to last. You do something, do it right. Make it repairable, make it upgradable, make it for a long life.
In addition to these guiding principles, our pursuit of audio perfection can be summarized in the overarching Linn mission.
Relentless elimination, I can't say that. Relentless elimination, I still can't say it. Relentless elimination of loss. The loudspeaker throughout the industry has always been the weakest link in the chain. It adds by far the most amount of distortion, by far the most amount of noise. That's always been the case. But that's exciting for us because that means that's the place where we can find the biggest gains.
Do you want to choose a track or do you want Phil to play you something?
Well, Phil's taste is appalling.
I've chosen some things that you like, although I think you might like.
There's a phenomenal gulf between what we can do in reproducing something and the reality. You know, it's a bit like, we think that the picture on our television is perfect, but actually it's not. It's good enough to persuade us, but it's not like the real world. And with music, the gap is phenomenal. It's astonishing. I want them.
You shall have them.
Everyone wants it. I love the challenge of a new product. The best bit for me is always at the beginning of a project because that's when I get to do the original acoustic development work.
Designing another product to sit alongside the LP12 is quite daunting. A lot to live up to.
All products here are a big team effort. There is no way that one engineer could come up with all of what's in the 360 speaker. It's a flagship product. It's in our 50th anniversary year. We have a huge conference involved. There's a big press launch. It's a big thing that we're doing this time.
Product launches are exciting, but also inherently challenging and nerve-wracking times.
I'm from Taiwan.
Brussels.
Istanbul.
Belfast.
Luxembourg.
Sweden.
Everyone came from all over the world today, and we came from 25 minutes down the road.
360 is audibly invisible.
thing I always look for, really, or look forward to, is feedback from the retailers and customer feedback. I know how good this thing is, but the excitement is that people will actually own this and gain pleasure from it, and hearing from them, that's the really special thing.
As much as I have always loved Linn as a brand, I have never been a big fan of their loudspeakers. What we heard today is from a different planet. And it's not just better than anything they did before, it's one of the best speakers I've ever heard. I told to Phil earlier, because I know he was working hard and a long time on this, that he not just did an amazing job, he made a world-class loudspeaker.
He played one of my favourite tracks, Hotel California by the Eagles. And I remember hearing bits in there that I'd never heard before. And yeah, you're happy and sad at the same time, because you're thinking, I've missed, up until now, I've been missing out. I've not heard everything I could.
Brilliant, that's really good. That's great.
That was really good. Well done.
Oh, good soundbite. Was that a good soundbite?
That was a good one.
Finally.
Whilst we consistently seek to innovate, convincing the world of our bold new ideas hasn't always been plain sailing.
I was championing streaming because I'd come from a world of mobile phones where we had prototype 3G networks in 1999, 2000 that were already streaming audio and video. Now, they hadn't made their way into consumer handsets, but as far as I was concerned, cloud-based audio and video was an inevitability. When I joined Linn, which was October '03, and very quickly started to put together a little team to start looking at how we could take Linn into streaming audio.
You know, we're not starting in the entry level, going all the way back to the very first streamer we ever released. We took a gamble and we only supported FLAC and WAV, the lossless audio formats. And then we brought in things like MP3, which everyone had at the, you know, people that had digitized music collections were still in the dark at that point, didn't realize that an MP3 was, you know, losing all of the audio quality.
We were well ahead of the curve. When the switchover came, it was quite quick. Hard drive capacity suddenly became much bigger. Network speeds suddenly became much faster. That gave us the conviction to press ahead with a very high-end streaming player. So at that point, that's when we became fully committed to streaming. And the best way to do that was just to say, that's it, we're done with CD. We were the first to do so. We got a lot of coverage all over the world for that decision. It was not popular in all quarters, but we were all in. We saw the future, it was streaming, and we had to make an unequivocal and clear message that backed streaming as the future. Me going out and trying to sell the benefits of streaming versus CD was really like what my dad did with the Sondek LP12 in the early days. Seeing how passionately he made the arguments for streaming based on performance was a great role model for me. And I could then imagine what it must have been like back in the 70s when he was doing that with the Sondek LP12.
A critical component of the company is, of course, our workforce. And there are many who've been on their own Linn journey for more years than they might care to remember.
We draw our workforce from a very local area. A lot of people who work here come from Glasgow, come from Ayrshire, and that sets the culture.
I've been working at Linn now for just over 28 years. I know I don't look old enough.
I've worked with the same people for more than 2 decades, and we've grown old together. So we all know each other, we work very closely together.
How long have I worked here? 29 years.
I met my wife here. She works in the board assembly areas. She's been here for 30 years now. It's basically my life. It's actually my family's life as well. Both my daughters have worked here at their school experience weeks.
I came into this job straight out of university, so I've never really known anything different.
We need to send you to some horrible job for a couple of years. You appreciate it first.
Hi, Nina. Do you remember, have you seen my dad recently?
Not for a while, I think.
A wee while.
Did you ever see yourself working anywhere else?
Nope. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to expand on that. No.
Linn for me is not just where I work. Linn for me is passion, engineering, family.
Everything's always moving forward. It's a joy to be part of.
We strive for continuous improvement, and that is the challenge. It's easy to sit on your laurels, to continue pushing that forward, to always want a better result than you've had before. That's the real challenge.
I'm astonished at just how far we're able to go. I mean, where does it end? How far can music reproduction go? I've no idea, but I'm sure we'll be one of the ones who find out first.
I'm incredibly optimistic about the future. We're going to continue to innovate and make phenomenal new products that will continually astonish and surprise people because they'll never have heard music sounding as good as that.
As technology and capabilities have changed, and as the requirement of customers has changed, we've been able to change and adapt. We've had to acquire new skills and new capabilities and new understanding. We've had a bigger impact, I hope, than just with our company or even our customers. And the object of life is to make the world a better place. That's what I was taught, that's what I believe, and that's what I think somehow we have to strive for.